Welcome, everybody. I'm Jeff Martin, your voice in the mortgage industry. I really appreciate you all listening to the show. Telephone number here is 888-713-2929. You know, we don't get a ton of calls in the last couple of weeks, but we have been getting a lot of information requests to Facebook and our homepage at Malibu Funding Inc. Malibu Funding Inc. is the sponsor of the Mortgage Voice. I want to thank everybody there and all the people who do listen to the show and help bring it to the air. If you want to see us on Facebook, go to Facebook, type in Home Loans, Malibu Funding Inc., and it pops right up. We have a lot of information requests, as I said, as well as to our website, which is www.malibufunding.net. And when you go there, you can see what we're doing, how we're doing it, and the number of people that do work for us. We try to put all the people that work for Malibu Funding on our website, but we have turnover like every other company, and we have new people coming, and we've added a couple of new states this year, so forgive us if we are under construction always, but that's a good thing because it means that things that are changing for you in your life also change for us in our business, and in trying to bring to you the best and possible, most, positive ways that we can affect your decisions on whether you're going to do a loan, whether you're going to do a refi, whether you're going to do a purchase. Obviously, if you have to purchase, you're a new family, couple young people out there want to start a family, want to buy a house. Yeah, you need information given to you that's accurate and that can be helpful to you to make those decisions in the best possible way. There are all kinds of things that I want to get to today. The show will be mostly me. I'm apologizing for that, but Daryl's here to help me out, right, Daryl?
Each and every time you ask.
Excellent. Very good. Thank you very much. But I caught him off guard there. Usually I don't get him until the fourth segment. But today we're in a bullpen situation where we're, like the Dodgers, always going to the bullpen. We need Brandon Morrow ready to go, Kenta Maeda, all the great Dodger players that play during the World Series. And by the way, win, lose, or draw, that is a terrific thing that Los Angeles, Riverside, San Bernardino counties, Orange County, anybody who follows the Dodgers and has a national, international following was just great. The entertainment value alone was just terrific, and I had the good fortune to go to one of the games with my wife, who hadn't been to a game in 40 years, but it was great. We were on the field level, got to be about 30 yards away from Yasiel Puig. It was just terrific. Enjoyed it very much. And for those of you out there last week who heard the show, who are thinking about maybe you need to get away, you need to do that life-changing event, that thing that you need to do, you probably need some money to do that, and that's one good reason to do a refi, especially if it's on your life bucket list. Hate the term, but I do understand the sentiment, and I do agree with it. Some people, when they get to a certain age, haven't done anything, and they look around and they're miserable, and they're thinking, my gosh, I've got to get out there. Well, if you have the time and the ability, and you've bought your house and it's paid off, probably could take a few bucks out and go on that great trip, or buy something that would make you happy, or your kids happy, or your wife happy, or your husband happy in this world. Why not? I mean, life is short, especially when we come across all the things that have been happening in the world news lately, whether it's the horrific shootings in Vegas or certainly down at that church down in Texas. Just awful, awful news over the weekend. It just cascades one after another, and I always look to why. I guess there is no why. Stuff happens, and if it's happened to you and is happening to you now, I'm really sorry. I think we can help you with some of the decisions on, whether you want to get a mortgage and how we can help you with information in order to do that, but some of this stuff just falls on you, and I forget the quote and who it's from, but sometimes it just wheels around and it's on you. I think it was Shawshank Redemption, and sometimes when that happens, you don't know why, and I don't know what makes you feel better about that or worse about it. We've had some personal situations in my own family recently that have just rocked our boat, and when you face right down to it, you got your family, your immediate family, your kids, your spouse, and maybe your brothers and sisters you grew up with, and that's about it. I mean, you have some close friends, but if you're there for each other through the tough times, and however you get through that, believe me, I understand. A couple things I wanted to talk about in the loan business themselves. I was talking to Daryl off air just briefly before the show. I had an occasion. Now, I don't know if everyone remembers 2008, 2009, 2007, some of the tough days in the industry when mortgage brokers were blamed for the entire meltdown of the industry, and it was all the fraudulent loans being done, and it was the overinflated appraisals, and it was the in cahoots with the borrowers in order to defraud the banks. Well, we come now, I guess it's 10 years later, right? It's 2017, almost 2018, if you can believe that. That's almost 10 years from the mortgage meltdown. Now, that is an incredible statistic right there. But let's say we've come all this distance. I had occasion the other day, I got a call from an investor on a loan we did back in 2016, over a year ago. They said they did some background work. Their investor who purchased a loan from them, as we all know, we don't keep the loans, and our people that buy our loans don't keep them. They eventually make their way to either a large institutional investor or they go to Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. Well, apparently one of these loans had some issues with the income calculation as well as some of the bank statements. Apparently the altered bank statements on the particular loan that I'm talking about came directly from the borrower, and in discovering further, there was a call made out to the employer on the particular loan to make sure that the employment that was verifying the income of the borrower was correct. Turns out that that was also done fraudulently, whether a friend or a neighbor or somebody. So think about this. We've come 10 years down the road, and we're looking at a much cleaner upfront front end. We talk about it all the time. So how is it that somebody who is out there in the marketplace doesn't understand? Mortgage fraud is 20 years in prison, $1 million fine. That's the minimum if you get prosecuted for mortgage fraud. When I tell that to people who are invested or interested in coming up with what they call creative solutions in order to satisfy loan requirements, I look at them and I say, that's illegal, that's fraud, we don't do that. I've been saying it and screaming it for years on the radio, but yet there are still people, and I'm not, now maybe they forgot. Maybe they just think that it's no big deal that they lied a little bit. But in a situation where you are defrauding based on altering, I guess in this particular case, they said they had, I don't know, a couple $100,000 or $300,000 in the bank. Turns out they had $3. Now that's not a little, even though even a little would be fraud. This is out and out just deception, and it's a conspiracy to deceive. So I get the call. What are you going to do about it? Well, obviously, we confront the borrower, and we've come to a solution to try to add some income to calculations by putting other people on the loan so that this investor, this person who purchased the loans and then sold them off and had to repurchase the loan, that they're not on the hook for them. And why should they be? The person who actually did the fraudulent transaction has sought out family members to help them qualify for a real loan based on real documentation. So if you're out there and you're thinking that this is somehow, you slid by, you got through, you got it done, people check these randomly forever. I know out there in the world, you're thinking, I can get away with it. You can't. You shouldn't. It's illegal. It's something that if not only you get caught for it, but you've implicated everybody in the chain that touched that loan. So our company that really had nothing to do with it, the company that purchased the loan had nothing to do with it, and the company that bought it from that company had nothing to do with it. But they're all having to pay a price. And the price is credibility in the industry and possible monetary and financial hurt, meaning that may have to pay fines, may have to get involved with the solutions globally, meaning that, you've got Fannie Mae, the federal government, you've got state governments all wanting to know why things happen the way they happen and when does it start to go downhill. Well, in this case, are we 10 years removed from such a most horrific problem that ever happened to our country in terms of mortgage market? Almost ruined the entire the country financially. Are we so far removed that that has been forgotten? So what we've done is reinstitute some old policies that we didn't think we'd have to do anymore, i.e. localized verification of deposit, localized verification of income, localized verification of employment, meaning that we're going to check first The next level is going to be the investor is going to check, and then Fannie Mae will check. So what we're going to do is eliminate the need to have trust in the borrowers. And again, I try to trust everybody, but as always is the case, when money's involved, you can't trust anybody. And when you're somehow trying to do somebody a favor, guess what happens? You're the one who's at risk. So that's why policies and procedures are followed, and that's what we're trying to tell you out there as borrowers. Be honest, be truthful to your loan officer, and we can come to solutions for whatever your financial needs are in the lending business. I'm Jeff Barton, your voice in the mortgage industry, and we'll be right back.
Want to know how to create more business and save money? Simple. The answer is video. Video shares are the fastest growing form of word-of-mouth advertising, and according to InternetRetailer.com, visitors who viewed a business video were 85% more likely to buy after watching it. People today are on the go. They don't have time to read text, but they have 1 minute to watch video. At HD Video King, we not only create quality video that's right for you, we coach you on how to get the most from it. Call today. Our award-winning staff are ready to assist.
Are you experiencing hair loss? We have the solution with no drugs, no surgery, and no side effects. Experience 100% pain-free results with Super Grow Laser Cap System, featuring 272 professional-grade lasers that make your hair thicker and fuller naturally. Use it 15 minutes a day, 3 times a week, and notice your hair growth in as little as 3 months. Visit online at irevivelaser.com to order your Super Grow Laser Cap today and experience unbelievable results. irevivelaser.com.
Successful Strategies International offers state-of-the-art PMP certification in an entire curriculum of project management, risk management, portfolio and program management by using unique learning techniques such as online learning, simulations, and facilitator lead programs. Our clientele consists of some of the biggest Fortune 500 companies in existence. SSI has trainers all across North America, Europe, and Asia to help meet your project management needs. Learn more at ssi-learn.com. That's ssi-learn.com.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jeff Barton, your voice in the mortgage industry. 888-713-2929 is the telephone number. Pick up the phone. Give us a call. We talk a lot about mortgages on this show. Obviously, it's called the Mortgage Voice. So if you're listening right now and you've got a solution you need, maybe you want to buy a house, maybe you need a purchase, maybe you want to refinance, take some of that money out, as we were talking about in the first section of the show, maybe you've got something on the bucket list that you just absolutely have to do. Believe me, if you don't do it now, when? If not now, when? And how long are you going to take it? The immortal words of Bill Parcells to the Patriots back in the day. Yes, I know everybody's sick of the Patriots. I am too. But it was a great quote, and it is aptly put here, especially when we're talking to our first and next guest on the show is Mikey Pearson from Pearson Business Growth Solutions. Mikey, how are you doing?
I am excellent, Jeff. Thank you.
Okay, and thank you very much. Mr. Pearson, Mikey, a good friend of mine, I've known him for a number of years, has a terrific business that he is now trying to bring to us, and we're really grateful that he's done so. He talks a lot about growth strategies. How do you bring your business from A to B, especially small to medium-sized businesses? And I know in San Bernardino, Riverside, where we're being broadcast right now, there are a ton of businesses that would like to go to the next level. Could you just describe a little bit about your background and then maybe get into a couple of the 3 steps that you talked about in your latest video that I saw last week?
Okay. My background is being an entrepreneur. I've owned businesses ever since college. And my life was positively affected by hiring a coach when I was young and first in business, a coach like myself, and learned so much. I mean, I knew how to sell stuff, but I really didn't know much about business. And that guy taught me a lot and changed my life, permanently, and I'm very appreciative. So what I do is essentially what an athlete's coach does. Now, you know, every high-end athlete has a coach, and every high-end business person, well, most of them have one actually or need one. So I help a business owner or a key stakeholder achieve their goals, and I help them do it faster and quicker. And I have 100 different ways to do it. And it turns out that if somebody's properly motivated and really cares about their business, it's actually quite easy for me to do. And the reason is that successful business is well understood. It's well documented. They know how successful business works. And to bring someone like myself in to help the business owner just get on track with that success for themselves, it's powerful. It's amazing. I absolutely love it. It wakes me up early every day.
Now, you talk about on your broadcast and in a number of things that I've seen about you, about making people held accountable to themselves, meaning that, okay, if I'm going to get from A to B, I need to do several things. How do I do that? How do I document it? And how do I hold myself accountable to be able to get to where I want to go? Describe some of that, infrastructure or intricacies in how you get people to actually identify where they want to go, and then how do they measure it, and then how do they hold themselves accountable?
Okay, yeah, you nailed one of the more important things we do. So what I first do with a client is get into his values, which is really important, understand who he or she is, really what they're about, what they want to do, and then take it to their business. There really isn't a big difference to me between your personal life and your business life. You're a different place with different people and different words and all that. But who you are is who you are. So once we get there, we then look at goals. And most people don't really understand how to make goals.
Right.
If your goal is, I want to be a better runner, that's not a goal, that's a wish. A goal is much more specific, and that's what I work on with business owners. What exactly do you want to be? How much better? Do you want to be a 4-minute miler?
Right.
Or what are you after? How long going to take to get there? How reasonable is that goal? And also, really importantly, is that goal founded in your values? All too many business people achieve financial success, but only at a huge cost to their health and their family and their friends.
Yep.
And that's something we're definitely going to avoid. We don't want that kind of success.
I talked, Mikey, in the first part of the show about how people have so quickly forgotten what got us into the mortgage meltdown mess 10 years ago. So when somebody approaches me about a loan, the first thing I think about is, okay, can this person afford what they think they want? Is it in their best interest? I think that's what you're talking about when it comes to personal growth and setting goals. I want to be a millionaire is not necessarily a goal. It's, okay, what is the price it's going to cost you to get there? And if you want to get there, are you willing to pay the price? Or is it the ethical thing to do to pay the price in order to take away from your family, your friends, your neighborhood? These are the kind of things that I always appreciate hearing people say, especially in teaching business, growth in business.
Well, you said it exactly. And, obviously I believe you're directly right on. Most people I encounter that become clients, the first thing they say is, well, I want more sales.
Right.
Well, and my answer is, of course, we'll work on that, but that's the last thing we're going to work on up front. We're going to make sure the foundation's right, and the foundation starts with you and your personal values, and then goes to your goals, as we've already talked about. Because if I help somebody increase their sales day one, the foundation's not going to support it, and I could put them right out of business, or they're going to have a heart attack or
right.
some other horrible thing.
Right. Too much business is not good business,
It's not success either.
Right. That's right. And your measure of success is something you develop with the client?
100%. So I work with everybody in a custom fashion, and what everyone's definition of success is their own. And it's important that they understand it, and we evolve it together. It's not what I think success is. That makes no difference. It's what they think success is.
What is your number one concern when you take on a new client? I mean, obviously their concerns are cost and can I, increase sales by 100% in a month. That's usually what business owners want. They want to pay little and get a lot and kick you out the door. What are your major concerns when you take on a new client?
That's funny. I'm not generally concerned, because if somebody signs up with me, they become my client, they've showed me they're willing to do the hard work, and that's really the biggest step. They're willing to get deep into it, and they're willing to be honest and open. So I don't really have concerns. It's more an exciting and difficult journey that we take together. I'm their trusted advisor, and unlocking this kind of stuff within people. Nobody's ever asked them the questions I'm going to ask them.
Right.
Nobody ever. And so it's very powerful. So I guess if I had one concern is I shouldn't even tell this story, but I think in the last 2 weeks I've made 4 people cry.
Oh.
Not on purpose. I have not yelled at them or anything. I've simply asked them questions, And it turned out those questions were very powerful for them. And I don't mean bawling cry, but, that choked up voice
sure.
where you realize that, wow, no one's ever asked me that question before, and this is very powerful. So I don't call it a concern, but I now am very sensitive if I feel someone's voice starting to crack or I see a little tear in the eye. I try and bring it back to a positive. So it's not my intention to make them cry.
If someone wanted to get in touch with you because they're looking to take the next step with their business, how would they do that?
Just call my phone is probably easiest. 310-309-0038. You can find me on Facebook or website. It's Mikey Pearson, Mikke Pierson, and just get a hold of me and we'll chat. I don't onboard clients very quickly. I have to get to know people, and we really need to get into it a little bit. So feel free to call and we'll just chat.
Well, thank you very much. One last thing before we go. I wanted to see if you were to take on a new client and they had come up with some questionable ways that they do business, how do you deal with something like that? For instance, if your particular way of doing business or thinking doesn't jive with your clients, yet they want to use you, are you just a gun for hire, or do you have your own ethical standards that you won't cross a line? The reason I ask that is because I do, and so I assume you do too. So,
yeah, my ethical standards, my values, my culture are very high. I've never had that happen, and I would not take on that client. I don't think we'd be a fit, so I don't think either one of us would want to.
Right.
I do know a couple of coaches that would probably love to take that guy. That's not me. That's not even close to me. So same as you, I wouldn't even consider it. Wouldn't be an option.
Okay, Mikey, thank you very much for your time. I do appreciate it, and I'd like to have you back on to talk more business strategies on the Mortgage Voice.
Anytime, Jeff. Thanks very much. I appreciate the opportunity.
And thank you very much. And I'm Jeff Barton, your voice in the mortgage industry. We'll be right back.
Want to know how to create more business and save money? Simple. The answer is video. Video shares are the fastest growing form of word-of-mouth advertising. And according to InternetRetailer.com, visitors who viewed a business video were 85% more likely to buy after watching it. People today are on the go. They don't have time to read text, but they have 1 minute to watch video. At HD Video King, we not only create quality video that's right for you, we coach you on how to get the most from it. Call today. Our award-winning staff are ready to assist.
Ruthless Cowboys, keeping the American dream alive and creating jobs one t-shirt at a time. From fabric to design, Ruthless Cowboys makes 100% American-made apparel that hardworking Americans are proud to wear. At RuthlessCowboys.com, you can shop for shirts and accessories for the cowboy or cowgirl in your life. Head to RuthlessCowboys.com, check us out on Facebook and Instagram by searching Ruthless Cowboys. Ruthless Cowboys, we're all about family, country, and keeping it all American. RuthlessCowboys.com.
Successful Strategies International offers state-of-the-art PMP certification and an entire curriculum of project management, risk management, portfolio and program management by using unique learning techniques such as online learning, simulations, and facilitator lead programs. Our clientele consists of some of the biggest Fortune 500 companies in existence. SSI has trainers all across North America, Europe, and Asia to help meet your project management needs. Learn more at ssi-learn.com. That's ssi-learn.com.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jeff Barton, your voice in the mortgage industry. 888-713-2929 is the telephone number. Pick up the phone, give us a call. We talk mortgages on the show. In the last segment, really happy that Mikey Pearson was on. We talked a lot about business strategies and how you get from A to B, i.e. where you are now. You want to grow your business. You want to get more money in the door. You want to get new clients. He's a terrific asset, and I really appreciate him coming on the show. If you'd like to reach us by email, it's info@malibufunding.net. And if you'd like to reach us by Twitter, it's @Jeff6493. That's my Twitter handle. And, of course, we're on Instagram, and we've got a Facebook page. Oh, this show, as well as all the other radio shows that we put on TV, are also on YouTube. If you go to YouTube, go to the channel that we have, which is called Financing Mortgage, one word. If you look that up, even if you Google search that, you'll get to YouTube. YouTube, Financing Mortgage, and all the videos that you see or hear me on the radio, we do have videos of it, and you can see that on YouTube. Really appreciate, that's a great service. I love YouTube, love what they do. I think it's one of the most innovative approaches to reaching or have me reaching you because that's where most millennials go for most of their entertainment. They'd like to see everyone likes to see Stranger Things, right? The polished Hollywood videos or TV shows or movies. Everyone likes to see the high end. But when it comes to just pure entertainment, surfing around YouTube to see what's out there in your field or just what's out there today is a hoot. And everybody who I know who surfs the net certainly spends a lot of time there. So I like YouTube. I like what they do. And we're looking to both expand our presence on YouTube as well as to, see if we can get a better handle on how to promote what we do and what we do. We're trying to build an audience. And that's probably where this television show, as well as a lot of the other things we do for media, are going. So if you want to see us, go to YouTube, Financing Mortgage, one word. Also, if you want to see us on Facebook, you can go to Facebook, type in Home Loans, Malibu Funding Inc., and we pop right up. So all the social medias are covered, as well as old media like radio, although I think radio itself is the absolute best way here in Southern California. Hi to everybody who's stuck on the 10 and the 15 and the 215 who may be listening to me on the radio right now. I know what that's like. Been on those roads many, many times stuck in traffic. If you are listening to me, thank you for listening. We do appreciate it. We think radio is the best way to reach our audience because, let's face it, most people who own a car who are driving around right now, they're coming from work, going to work, or have a weekend off from work, have a home and they have a house, or they rent a house, or they rent an apartment and they want to get a house. So this mortgage show, yes, it's very, it's a lot of great information for you to be able to get from us delivered to you. I wanted to get into my next segment, and the industries that kind of blossomed around 2000, eCondo.com was a company that I started and owned and was very close to getting funded during the dot-com days. Now, anybody who was out there doesn't remember that is too young to probably get a loan, but most of us who are out there who are of age remembers 1999, 2000, 2001, the dot-com bubble days. They were just one of the first of many bubbles that we have experienced since then. Obviously, one being the real estate bubble, with the other the mortgage bubble, the other being, the free money that was delved around or spread around during the war, the first war in Afghanistan and the second war in Iraq. A lot of these bubbles that are created artificially. Well, the first one out there was the dot-com bubble, and Jeff Bezos was one of the industry's leaders at the time, but nobody thought so. They thought he was crazy. What do you mean you're going to sell stuff? Amazon, what the heck is that? Well, Amazon is now one of the largest companies in the world, and they do an unbelievable job at what they do, bringing products to your door as quickly as any company. I mean, we ordered something the other day. Daryl, you used Amazon, I'm sure.
I have, yes.
Yeah, so we ordered, I forget what it was. It was a watch band replacement, right, on Amazon. I mean, it was there within 12 hours. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, you can order something in the morning. It'll be there in the afternoon.
It's really terrific. And I know I deal with a commercial broker in New York City, and he was telling me that a lot of the commercial business has really gone from the inner part of Manhattan to the outskirts along the rivers, meaning that the office space in the interior has been, vacated. So he says Amazon's going in and buying up huge numbers of leases and buildings in order to store their products on site so they can get that really fast delivery. I think it's a great way to both secure some of the real estate in New York, in the REITs. Obviously, if you've got a secure long-term tenant like Amazon, that'd be great. That really is away from what I wanted to say. So in an interview that he had with what they call the Summit Series, and this has to do with a lot of CEOs around the country and around the world talking in an interview setting about, what they are and who they are. And, here's a guy who started with an idea of selling things via online in an auction site and ended up now, I think he sells everything. I don't know if you can buy a car through Amazon, but almost everything else.
Probably. And like Sears' number one business turned out to be real estate.
Yeah, that's right, because it's a lot like McDonald's. McDonald's number one business, they're not in the burger business, they're in the real estate business. So they buy and put up the shops, and then they rent it out to the store owners, and that's how they make all their money. So in his interview, Jeff Bezos, CEO of Amazon, he said, if I'm reading my email, I want to be reading my email. He said this when asked, do you multitask? The answer is no. He doesn't multitask. So if you're out there right now and you're one of these people that likes to talk on the phone, figure out your taxes, handle your kids, look, nobody multitasks very well. In the research that Jeff Bezos did, he talked about 2% of the people in the world can actually multitask. Earlier on the show, I get a text from my son, so I'm texting him while I'm not talking to somebody else. I'm texting my son. It's very difficult to be of split mind. So if you're out there and you're thinking, yes, this is okay, I'm going to drive, I'm going to look at my cell phone, I'm going to drive, I'm going to talk on my phone, best thing to do is what Jeff Bezos said was he does not multitask. He thinks that if you're talking to one person or doing one task, the best thing to do is to remain on that task. Now, if you've got ADD or ADHD or any of these other things and you just can't keep your mind, I'm a person that can't sit still, I need to get up and move around, I get it. But if you're dealing in a business situation or you're talking to your loan officer and you've got a text coming in, you want to talk on the phone. I was with a meeting the other day, talking to a loan officer, and throughout the entire meeting, and this is a guy that wants to work for me, through the entire meeting, he's on the phone. He's on the phone with me in a meeting. Now, there's nothing worse when you're with a prospective employer when you're distracted and can't give them 100% of your attention. Obviously, I didn't hire him. Obviously, I don't work with him. But if you're out there and you're thinking that, well, everybody else is doing it, I'm at lunch with my friends and everybody's on their cell phones, not going to work. And here's a guy who is the .com era, who is the most innovative guy in the internet. He's saying, don't multitask. Jeff Bezos, look him up if you don't know who he is. Terrific guy, really good guy too. He's talking about choosing the right partner for success. He's talking about, look, when I have dinner with friends or family, I like to do whatever I'm doing. Meaning, I don't like to multitask. If I'm reading my email, I want to be reading my email with my full energy and attention. Doesn't that make sense? Anytime you make a very serious decision, aren't you concentrated 100% of the time? And if you're not, and your attention is waning, and you've got your phone, or you're just looking at, all the things that we all do. I'm not saying I don't do it, okay? I do it. But I'm just telling you, if you're in a situation where you've got to make an impression, or you've got to make a decision, you should put all of your energy, your time, and your focus on that one thing that you've got to do. So if you're out there right now and you're listening to me, hey, I agree with Jeff Bezos. I think he's a brilliant guy, and I'm going to try to do more of what he suggests to do than what I usually and traditionally do. One quick thing, the overvaluation become a bigger issue for home prices in CoreLogic. Okay, I have in front of me the HPI percentage change year over year. HPI is the home price index. And what they're talking about is, are our homes rising in value too much? We talk about it almost weekly. We talk about why houses rise, what the difference between the last recession and this current condition is. Last week we spoke to one side of it. Well, here, CoreLogic, which does all the statistics for our housing market. Well, you know what? I see the high sign. Let's get into this in the next section. I'm Jeff Barton, your voice in the mortgage industry. We'll be right back.
Want to know how to create more business and save money? Simple. The answer is video. Video shares are the fastest growing form of word-of-mouth advertising. And according to InternetRetailer.com, visitors who viewed a business video were 85% more likely to buy after watching it. People today are on the go. They don't have time to read text, but they have 1 minute to watch video. At HD Video King, we not only create quality video that's right for you, we coach you on how to get the most from it. Call today. Our award-winning staff are ready to assist.
Successful Strategies International offers state-of-the-art PMP certification and an entire curriculum of project management, risk management, portfolio and program management by using unique learning techniques such as online learning, simulations, and facilitator lead programs. Our clientele consists of some of the biggest Fortune 500 companies in existence. SSI has trainers all across North America, Europe, and Asia to help meet your project management needs. Learn more at ssi-learn.com. That's ssi-learn.com.
Are you experiencing hair loss? We have the solution with no drugs, no surgery, and no side effects. Experience 100% pain-free results with Super Grow Laser Cap System, featuring 272 professional-grade lasers that make your hair thicker and fuller naturally. Use it 15 minutes a day, 3 times a week, and notice your hair growth in as little as 3 months. Visit online at irevivelaser.com to order your Super Grow Laser Cap today and experience unbelievable results. irevivelaser.com.
Ruthless Cowboys, keeping the American dream alive and creating jobs one t-shirt at a time. From fabric to design, Ruthless Cowboys makes 100% American-made apparel that hardworking Americans are proud to wear. At RuthlessCowboys.com, you can shop for shirts and accessories for the cowboy or cowgirl in your life. Head to RuthlessCowboys.com, check us out on Facebook and Instagram by searching Ruthless Cowboys. Ruthless Cowboys, we're all about family, country, and keeping it all American. RuthlessCowboys.com.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jeff Barton, your voice in the mortgage industry. 888-713-2929 is our telephone number. Pick up the phone and give us a call. We've been talking about mortgages. We're talking to a few people today and talking about some terrific people in the industries that we all admire, whether it's Amazon or whether it's Mikey Pearson in his personal business growth solutions business that he's got going to help businesses like myself, other small businesses get to be big businesses, and even big businesses to get to be better. Identifying what you want and how you want to get there is a really important aspect of what all businesses need to do. It's called a business plan, right? Everybody's written a business plan. I've written several. And when you do write one, and when you do try to get to where you want to get, you find out along the way what really is important to you. And I think that's also one of the questions that you have to ask if you're doing a refinance or if you want to buy a house. I mean, I know a lot of people starting out in life just don't have the money and just don't have the will, and they're afraid of the whole process. If you're in those shoes and you need some advice, give us a call, or give me a call, 310-849-5309. That's my cell phone number. You can always call the toll-free number. That's we give it out 100 times during the show. And ask me or ask our toll-free number, or go to our website and find one of the terrific agents there and just investigate what's best for you. What are the things that make you want to do what you want to do? Some people want to buy a house because they just think it's cool, or they're not really sure why, but everybody tells them, oh, you got to buy a house. In America, the number one way that you can become a millionaire is through real estate, whether it's your own house. I've paid off my house. Daryl had some unfortunate incidents with his health that it didn't happen for him. So if you're out there right now, you got to make life decisions about what you want to do, and we can try to help you. Daryl can speak a little bit to this about some of the things that can happen, but, home ownership is still the number one way you want to go in America.
One of the key questions, whether it's a business or a home or whatever, that people don't address up front that they should is, what's your exit strategy?
Right, exactly right. I mean, if you're somebody that wants to live in that house forever and give it to your kids, that's one thing. But most people in California want to live there 5 to 7 years. So if you're in that group, if you're saying to yourself, hey, you know what, I might move, I might not be there, I want to see the house prices, and this gets right back to what we were talking about before the break, which was the overvaluation in the housing market, and I want to touch on that a little bit. But if you're in that group that you want to be able to get out of your house in 5, 7 years, which is the average in America, you want to take advantage of the growing housing equity in the area or in your particular home. Pretty good idea. Maybe you want to go with a short-term mortgage. You don't want a 30-year fix. You want something that maybe is an interest-only loan, and yes, they are still available out there. So if you're in that whole tremendous group of people, you really need to talk to a professional. Certainly give us a call. Overvaluation becoming a bigger issue for home prices. That came from CoreLogic, touched on it in the earlier segment. So let's look at this historically a little bit. I want to ask Daryl just a question a little bit. What do you think the low point, the year was in terms of losing value in your house? How much did it lose, and what was the year that it did lose it?
Oh, I'd say losing value in your home, the low point probably hit 4 years ago.
Nope, 2009.
Wow.
So that was almost
18 years ago.
8 years ago. 2009. We're in 2017.
Okay.
Yeah. 2009. And how much home value? This is national average now. How much in your home value, percentage-wise, do you think it lost?
I think it probably went down at least 60%.
No, actually, well, yes, in certain pockets, certainly here in Southern California, we
Yeah.
saw that. But we're a roller coaster. Most of the country's not like that. And average-wise, nationally, was about 18%. So, and that's a big number. I mean,
Yeah,
you
it
think
is.
about it. I mean, if you're in St. Louis, Missouri right now, and you have a house for $250,000,
That's $50,000 down.
that's correct, and and that's your nest egg. Out here, we have such swings in real estate. If you're in San Bernardino County, Riverside County, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're talking about price swings from 2009 to today, probably 100%.
Well, that's when they were building the 5-bedroom homes up in Temecula, and families, multiple families were going together to buy them.
Well, you had a price up there of $300,000-400,000 that went down to $150,000,
Yeah.
and now it's back up to $300,000-400,000. So that's a swing of 100% in 9 years.
Lancaster Palmdale did the same thing.
They did exactly the same thing because you couldn't find something to afford in Rancho Santa Margarita, in Rancho Santa Fe, in anything having to do with, the terrific areas up and down the 10, along the 15 and the 215.
And Rancho Cucamonga, too.
Rancho Cucamonga, another terrific area. That, of course, we have a lot of guys that are out there, a lot of gals that work for us in the loan business as loan officers that live in that area. And, of course, KCAA broadcasts all over this area as well as KMET. And want to thank those terrific people as well as the Roadrunner. It brings us online for all of our, listeners out there. We're also on iHeartRadio if anyone wants to find us there. KCAA, the Mortgage Voice, you can certainly find us on iHeartRadio. I went there the other day. Great archive shows. Really appreciated it. So if we're talking about a bubble, a possible bubble in the real estate market, that's what this article talks about. They're talking about the third consecutive month that the 1.1% gains year over year. Now, that equals about 11% a year. That's way too high to be sustainable. If you think about that for a second, 5 years, you're going to double your price. Who's going to afford that? That's a bubble. And they're really worried about it. So if you're out there right now and you're seeking, this is why if we get into early next year, 2018, and it's a little bit harder to get a loan, even though jobs are up, inflation is down, and it looks as if house prices are up, because lenders are skittish at the least sign of an issue, especially an issue that was repeated, or not repeated, but started 10 years ago, which is, of course, a bubble in the real estate market, meaning that what we have is prices rising so fast that the demand is not justifying the price rise. So what causes it? That's not what they get into. They're just talking about the bubble itself and if it exists. So if you're out there and you're listening, this is something to actually think about when you're buying. And places like Hesperia and Palmdale and some of the other Lancaster, some of the other outlying areas that might not necessarily be as expensive as your particular area. Obviously, in San Bernardino, Riverside, you're not going to be traveling out to Palmdale and Victorville. Victorville, maybe. Victorville's not that far.
Some people are still commuting.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think, if you've got a job that's got some flexibility, maybe some, telecommuting is a good deal, maybe online. I know that we have flex hours at where I work, so people can come and go at different hours as long as you can come in for the hours and do the job that you're necessarily needed to do. Mortgage rates roughly unchanged after jobs report. Jobs report was a little disappointing, but it looks like the mortgage rates, and I'm going to quote you some mortgage rates here that are general averages across the country. We're looking at a 30-year fixed rate at 4%. Wasn't too long ago that we were talking about 3.5%, 3.75%. So if you see 4%, you're a little nervous about that particular rate. Don't be. It's still very historically low, or historically very low. The FHA VA loans are at 3.75. The 15-year fixed loans, 3.375, and of course the ARMs, when we're talking about, look, maybe you only want to be in your house for 3 to 5 years, 5 to 7 years, an ARM, an adjustable rate mortgage, that's the kind of product you want to be in. If you're a person that travels a lot, if you're a person that, is in for the equity only, and you're looking at 3 to 5 years, this ARM product, this 5-year ARM that they're quoting here at 2.75 to 3.25%, depending on the lender, yeah, that's a pretty good rate. So if you're out there and you're looking for loans and you're worried about all things, in the housing. Maybe you don't want to set down roots for 30 years. You're looking at a shorter-term loan. I think that's always a good loan. And if you're out there right now and you're listening to my voice, you can definitely give me a call. We can go through some of the credit requirements for some of these loans. It's really a terrific market still in regards to rate. So that's very important. I want to talk a little bit now about the new Fed chair. We did have some interesting news on the Fed chair. I think the guy, his name is Jerome Powell, and he's been on the Federal Reserve Board for a number of years. He was appointed, I believe, by President Obama. Everybody seems to think he's a very good guy. He's not an economist by nature, which is a little bit of it's a departure from what we've had during the past 4 or 5 Fed chairmen, whether it's Bernanke or Yellen or Volcker or Greenspan. All of these guys were people, although I think Volcker came from the investment side, but generally the latter 3 were all economists. And I think when we get into the macro of what Fed policy does, which is really look at the economy from an inflation standpoint, what we're trying to do is keep inflation at about 2%. So that we don't get what we had in 1980 when Jimmy Carter was president. And one of the problems that Carter was president was that he appointed somebody who wasn't an economist, and we had 18% inflation. I think that was a confluence of events not having to do with Jimmy Carter, and this person is also not an economist, but he is a pretty steady hand. And reading through some of the remarks of the senators who are going to approve him, it's very, very interesting that they all seem to think he's a good guy. Hey, listen, thanks for listening to the show. I'm Jeff Barton, your voice in the mortgage industry. We'll be right back.
Want to know how to create more business and save money? Simple. The answer is video. Video shares are the fastest growing form of word-of-mouth advertising. And according to InternetRetailer.com, visitors who viewed a business video were 85% more likely to buy after watching it. People today are on the go. They don't have time to read text, but they have 1 minute to watch video. At HD Video King, we not only create quality video that's right for you, we coach you on how to get the most from it. Call today. Our award-winning staff are ready to assist.
Are you experiencing hair loss? We have the solution with no drugs, no surgery, and no side effects. Experience 100% pain-free results with Super Grow Laser Cap System, featuring 272 professional-grade lasers that make your hair thicker and fuller naturally. Use it 15 minutes a day, 3 times a week, and notice your hair growth in as little as 3 months. Visit online at irevivelaser.com to order your Super Grow Laser Cap today and experience unbelievable results. irevivelaser.com.
Successful Strategies International offers state-of-the-art PMP certification in an entire curriculum of project management, risk management, portfolio and program management by using unique learning techniques such as online learning, simulations, and facilitator lead programs. Our clientele consists of some of the biggest Fortune 500 companies in existence. SSI has trainers all across North America, Europe, and Asia to help meet your project management needs. Learn more at ssi-learn.com. That's ssi-learn.com.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jeff Barton, your voice in the mortgage industry, 888-713-2929. We are dearth of guests today on the show. So if you're hearing me a lot and you're going, wow, where's the next guest? Well, I'm the next guest, and I think I'm the best interviewer of myself. So let's get right to it. Listen, if you want to get a hold of me, you want to dial that phone number, 888-713-2929, or you can email me, info@malibufunding.net. That certainly gets right to me. My Twitter handle is @Jeff6493. I usually tweet out positive news about myself, my company, in my world. I think that Twitter is often used as an attack zone, and usually I just get likes and Mickey Mouse ears and things like that. So if you do follow me on Twitter, that's what you're going to get. I think that it's good. There are some people out there who tweet the same way. I don't get into the politics or the news of the day. I just think there's so many people out there doing that the way I'm doing it is the way I think it's best. I do have a blog, bartonblog.com, where I get into more of the negative aspects of what's going on in the world, and especially in the world of business, some of the personal things that affect me and affect you. Obviously, if you're out there right now and you are in a tough situation, maybe you lost your job, maybe you've got some catastrophic medical event that you just need to sit, pause, think of a way that you're going to put together some money to live in the next few years. Yeah, I feel for you, and I really do understand. Maybe you've got some equity in your house. Maybe there is a way by which we can cobble together an equity line of credit. There are those still available out there. One of the aspects that I wanted to talk about quickly was the HECM. For those out there who are older who need to tap into some money in their house, the home equity line of credit, or the home, not a line of credit, but the home equity credit market, the reverse mortgage. There have been some changes since August that were implemented October 1st, and I think you have to be aware of those if you want to be, or if you're one of these people that needs money, you need to take it out of your house. You have to understand that there have been changes in this market for reverse mortgages. I'm just going to read them to you so you understand a little bit about what they are. If you're thinking about going that way, one of the things is, they charge upfront costs. They're called funding fees, or they're called upfront costs, in addition to what you're going to have to pay for your back-end costs, your title, your escrow, things like that. The upfront costs are raised to 2%. Ouch, that's a big number. So if you've got a $300,000 house and you've got at least 50% equity in your house, $150,000, that means, let's say you want to take $50,000 out, which means that you're going to have a mortgage of 150 plus 50 is 200,000. You want to take 200,000, 50,000 out of your house. You're going to have to pay on $200,000 loan 2% of the mortgage, which is $4,000. So it used to be 0.5%, which is $1,000. So that's a big increase, and it really begs the question, why? And the why of it is that I think they've seen some uptick in the defaults of reverse mortgages. And the last thing anybody wants to do is get into a tussle or a fight or a foreclosure situation with an elderly person who's just had a spouse who's passed away and who can't pay off the mortgage, and they have to pay both the taxes and the mortgage. And so they have to sell a house. So I think they want to try to protect the homeowner by making it harder to get a reverse mortgage. So that's number one. Number two, the principal limit factor, meaning the loan to value, is lowered. So what was a certain percentage is now just below 50%. I think it could even be 45%, meaning that you have to have at least that much equity in your home, 50% equity, and you can only borrow, I think, off that 50% equity. So you always have to maintain at least that amount. Now, this mortgage appeals to people who have paid off their home. And there are a number of Americans, I would say half the Americans over age 62 have paid off their home. So if you're one of those people, this doesn't really affect you because you own 100% of your home. The only thing you have to do is make sure that you can pay your taxes and insurance. That was a new thing that they added before October 1st. And the last thing, which actually helps, is a 1.25% fee now lowered to 0.5%, which means basically that your particular fee on a yearly basis has now been lowered to 0.5%. Now that's a good thing, meaning that you're not going to be paying as much as you were in the past because the rate isn't going to be as high. So you're going to get a terrific rate, but some of the things that are going to prevent you from getting that mortgage is that upfront fee and, of course, the loan-to-value issues. So if you're out there right now and you're thinking about any of these solutions, give us a call. Let us figure out for you or help you figure out what exactly is going on and if you can qualify for the reverse mortgages. Okay, taxes. Let's talk a little bit about taxes. I want to bring Daryl in because Trump's plan is out and it's being tweaked a little bit by the Senate and the House in terms of what they will and what they won't do in regards to housing. The things that they are going to do or say that they're going to do. If you have a home right now, you can write off 100% of the interest deduction on your loan up to $1 million. That means if you bought $1 million home, you can write off that interest deduction that you're paying on that $1 million loan. They're lowering it to $500,000. What do you think about that, Daryl?
Well, I mean, a lot of people take advantage of being able to write off that interest payment first, second, whatever the case may be. And if that goes away, I mean, there are people that use that to help calculate how many deductions they use on their paycheck, for example, and give them free cash flow to use during the year.
Yeah, I think there's so many repercussions from that particular. Now, granted, this hasn't been around forever. This was something that was introduced, I think, back in the 70s. This was one of their solutions where the mortgage interest payment could be deducted on your taxes. But if we're talking about a massive tax cut to basically everybody in the upper class, everybody certainly below a certain dollar figure doesn't pay taxes, and the middle class obviously has to pick up a lot of the slack, they're losing a good percentage. Like most people in Orange County own a home over $500,000.
Right. There are certain areas of the country that, it sort of pinpoints, and Southern California would take the brunt of it.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that's what a lot of the people here in California, they were talking earlier about a couple of districts down in Orange County and whether the Republican House of Representative members, Congress members are going to be able to vote for it because it strikes right into the pocket of their constituency. And how are you going to ask somebody to vote for you if you're telling them they're going to have less deduction on their taxes, they're going to have to pay more taxes, when the whole Republican mantra has always been less government, less taxes?
When the space bubble broke several years ago, people working at Space Station, Space Shuttle,
Right.
Sold their California homes and went to Florida to work for lesser jobs back there. I mean, you could buy a 3,000 square foot condo on the Space Coast there for like $180,000. And they sold their California homes for $500,000, $600,000 and moved there. And then when it dried up back there, you couldn't sell one for less than that.
Right, exactly. Well, I think so much of the real estate market is dependent on a very delicate balance between what someone can afford, obviously, and then once they get into it, what they can keep out of their paycheck to maintain that debt-to-income ratio, because it's always important to make sure that that debt-to-income ratio, which, let's say that with an FHA loan, it's up to 55%, but most of the loans are below that, obviously 40, 45%, and that's really important. Obviously, you need to save for the future. You need to save for college fund for kids. You need to have, obviously emergency money. You need to pay all the bills that are out there. And in areas, even like in Riverside and San Bernardino counties, where we've seen prices increase, as I said earlier in the show, almost 100% since 2009. And those people out there who are still suffering, I know there are pockets. I know there are places that it hasn't come back 100%, but for most part, it has come back that much, and you're finding average home prices in all of these areas exceeding $300,000 to $400,000. How is it that you now have to bear the brunt of this tax situation, especially when you cannot write off your particular taxes at 50%? Of what the number used to be. If the number is $1 million and now it's 500,000, does that mean retroactively I can't write off my mortgage interest payments? You bet. You can't do it anymore, and that's an issue.
You see these programs like Chip and Joanna Gaines there in Texas, and they're refurbing homes, but they're buying the original home in Waco, Texas for like $80,000.
Well, exactly.
And you're saying this looks pretty attractive to me at this point.
Exactly right. Because in California there is no 80,000 anything.
No, anywhere.
No, and and the whole idea that you're going to be able to...
You can buy a trailer for that.
You cannot buy a trailer. I'll tell you what, I live in Malibu, California, as everybody on the show knows. Trailers there. Now they call them trailers. They're not trailers.
They're not trailers.
They're $1 million, $1.5 million. I had a friend who sold one for $4.5 million. Can you imagine? And this was something on wheels.
I hope it was at least a double wide.
And it wasn't a Lamborghini, okay? So it's just unbelievable. I think in large part, the tax issues, what's happening right now in terms of your mortgage deduction, you should call your congressperson. And if you live in those areas where there's a Republican congressperson, because I don't think any of the Democrats are going to vote for this tax plan, you should apply some pressure, because that's one that we should keep exactly where it is. Hey, I'm Jeff Barton, your voice. Daryl, thanks very much for jumping in.
My pleasure.
Absolutely. And I'm Jeff Barton, your voice in the mortgage industry, and we'll see you next time.